The day my trading account first showed $200,000, I felt no joy. Instead, there was just emptiness and an icy fear that it would all disappear as quickly as it came. That's when I realized the journey from $100 to $200,000 was never about the money. It's about how not to break down and lose yourself in the process. This isn't a story about a magic strategy. It's a chronicle of a complete mental transformation. A story about the circles of psychological hell I went through. In this video, I'll share the mistakes I learned from at each stage and the one single skill that allowed me not just to earn, but more importantly, to find inner peace. It all started, as it often does, very simply. $100 in my account and a fire in my eyes. I had watched videos about overnight success, where traders showed $1,000 profits. I read a few articles about secret patterns and truly believed I had struck gold. I seriously thought the market was an ATM. You just had to find the right PIN code. My psychology at that stage, let's be honest, it wasn't the trader's mindset, but a gambler's. I looked at the charts not as a balance of supply and demand, but as a roulette wheel. Red, black, up, down, every single trade was filled with desperate hope. Hope for quick and easy money that would solve all my problems. I'd open the trading terminal with my heart pounding in my chest. Any small dip in my balance would cause a full-blown panic attack. I remember someone in the chat wrote, "Buy gold, it's going to the moon." Without a second thought, I put my entire $100 into a long position, with maximum leverage, of course. 15 minutes later, my deposit was completely going. That was the first account I blew. Then the second, then the third. And each time, I blame anyone but myself. The broker, the market makers, the wrong market. Anyone but me. After blowing several accounts, I was ready to quit, but something inside me wouldn't let go. It pushed me to try just one more time. Only this time, I would do it differently. I deposited another $100, but made a firm promise to myself. I promised to get smart about it. I started studying the absolute basics, support and resistance levels, simple indicators, and candlestick analysis. I stopped trading randomly and tried to follow some kind of plan. And then, a miracle happened. It started to work. Slowly, my account began to grow. First, it hit $500, then $1,000. The feeling was unreal. I felt like a genius, like I was the one who had cracked the market's code. And right there, the most insidious trap for a beginner was waiting for me. The trap of euphoria and overconfidence. Payback came swiftly. I remember the day perfectly. By then, I had managed to grow my account to $1,000. On the Euro to US dollar chart, I saw what I thought was a perfect entry for a long. The price went against me, but I was a genius. I felt the market. I started averaging down my losing position, 100% sure I was right. It's just a correction. They will end soon, I told myself. And then, the news came out. Back then, I had no idea what non-farm payrolls was. In a single hour, my account was almost liquidated, minus $700. 70% of my entire deposit, money that took me months of sweat and nerves to earn, evaporated in 1 hour. I sat there, staring at the screen, unable to believe my eyes. It wasn't a hit to my wallet. It was a devastating blow to my ego. It was in that moment I learned my first major lesson. Discipline always beats genius. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you can't follow it, you are doomed. I forced myself to write down a detailed trading plan. No more I feel it. Only cold calculation and strict adherence to my system. Once my account held a few $1,000s, my psychology shifted again. The amounts became more significant. Losing $50 was unpleasant, but losing $500 was truly painful. This was the stage where my greatest enemies became my emotions. The fear of missing out, FOMO, and the desire to win back my losses immediately. I remember watching GBP/JPY print huge green candles for days. It was skyrocketing without me. I just sat there, watching the train leave the station, cursing my indecision. The fear of missing out was so strong that I broke all my rules and jumped into a buy at the very top. Of course, half an hour later, the price crashed and I hit my stop loss. But instead of stopping, I felt a burning anger, a desire to get my money back from the market right away. I immediately opened a sell position with double the lot size. No analysis, just pure revenge. And I took another loss. In one evening, I made the two stupidest trades of my career, and it set me back a whole month. I realized something important. The market is a mirror. It doesn't create our problems. It only highlights what's already inside us. My impatience, my greed, my fear, it all came out in my trading. Managing these emotions is a daily fight. I share my personal techniques and daily market thoughts in my free Telegram channel. The link is in the description. It's a community where we focus on the process, not just the profits. When my account passed the $10,000 mark, the most exhausting part of my journey began. I call it the psychological plateau. My growth slowed down dramatically. The market was no longer a slot machine. It became a routine, a monotonous, grinding job. 1 week in profit, the next in a loss. 1 month in a small plus, the next in a small minus. I was treading water, and it was driving me insane. This is the stage where all your inner demons come out to play. I realized the problem wasn't my strategy. My strategy was fine. The problem was in my head. I was still too emotionally invested in every single trade. A profit would make me euphoric. A loss would crush me. My mood depended 100% on a green or red number on my terminal. I realized something important. The market is a mirror. It doesn't create our problems. It only highlights what's already inside us. My impatience, my greed, my fear, it all came out in my trading and was holding me back. That's when I started working on that one key skill. That skill is emotional detachment and a complete focus on the process, not the outcome. It sounds simple, right? But in practice, it's incredibly difficult. I started a trading journal, but I recorded more than just numbers. I described my emotions in detail, what I felt when I opened the trade, jumped in because of FOMO, what I felt during the trade, wanted to move my stop, felt scared, and what I felt after closing it. Angry about the loss, happy I followed my plan. This helped me see myself from the outside and see exactly how my emotions were wrecking my trading. I started meditating, just 10 to 15 minutes a day, to learn how to observe my thoughts without getting attached to them. I completely shifted my focus. My goal was no longer the money from each trade. My goal became the flawless execution of my system. 100 times in a row. I considered myself successful, not when I made a profit, but when I followed my plan perfectly, even if the trade hit a stop loss. A loss was no longer a tragedy. It became just a part of the statistics, a part of the job. This mental shift was titanic. It took over a year, but it's what allowed me to break the $100,000 ceiling. The journey from 100,000 to 200 was less of a struggle. It became methodical, almost mechanical work. After mastering emotional detachment, trading became boring, and that is the best compliment you can give it. The euphoria was gone, but so was the panic. The excitement was gone, but so was the fear. Trading turned from a roller coaster into a calm river cruise. The psychology of a professional is the psychology of a surgeon. He doesn't clap his hands after a successful incision, and he doesn't fall into despair if something goes wrong. He just does his job, coldly, precisely, and with full awareness of the risks. I remember a perfect sell signal on oil that matched my system perfectly. I opened the trade, set my stop loss and take profit. 10 minutes later, some unplanned news broke. The price shot up, knocking me out at my stop loss. The old man would have been furious. But this time, I simply logged the trade as a planned loss and closed the terminal. I had fully accepted that the result of any single trade is random. All that matters is that over hundreds of trades, my system has a positive edge. As my account grew, my approach to risk also changed. With $100, I risked everything. With the $200,000 account, my risk per trade rarely exceeded 0.5%. It's a funny paradox. The more money you have, the less you're willing to risk. You begin to truly value your capital, and you understand the main goal is not to grow it, but to preserve it. My life changed too. I found the freedom that all beginners dream of. When it wasn't the freedom to buy Lambos and yachts, it was the freedom to not think about money, the freedom to do what you truly enjoy, the freedom to spend time with loved ones, knowing your capital is working for you. But this is what I felt, that emptiness I mentioned at the start, because it turns out that $200,000 in an account doesn't make you happy. Happiness is an internal state, and it has nothing to do with the numbers on your screen. Working on that state is the next level, and it's just as important as trading itself. Looking back, the entire journey can be summarized in 4 psychological lessons. The beginner stage. Your enemy is euphoria and a lack of discipline. The cure is a rock-solid trading plan. The struggle stage. Your enemies are greed and fear. The cure is recognizing these emotions and learning to control them. The plateau stage. Your enemy is you. The cure is deep inner work, journaling, and focusing on the process, the professional stage. Your main task is to keep a cool head and treat trading as a business. Remember, trading is a marathon, not a sprint. And in this marathon, your main competitor isn't the market, it's the person you see in the mirror every morning. So what psychological stage are you at right now? Share your story in the comments. For more deep dives into trading psychology, join my free Telegram channel. Thanks for watching.